Hello and welcome to the Less Than 10 Minutes Math Review with Kaylin. So the first question we're going to do is a simplify problem. Gotta find the highest common factor, and 36 is easily divisible by 3, so we take that out there. And 16 is an even number, so it can be divided by 2 and then divided by 2 again. We have 4. Now 4 can also be divided into 2 times 2, but we can already see that the 4s are matching. So we're going to put 4 on the outside and take out the common y, which is y squared, and then 3 times 3 is 9, and then there's another y, minus 4. That's the answer. Okay, the next question, there's 3, which is not divisible by anything except itself and 1. So no simplifying there, but this problem is one of the ones where we have our special template with a plus sign in between, which I forgot here, but we'll add it later. Okay, so our x has a times c, which is 4 times 3, 12. And then on the bottom we have 8. And then skip ahead on the t because I know that you're already good at that. We find 2 and 6. We add those into our template. You can also switch the 2x and the 6x, but like 4 is more similar to 2 and 6 is more similar to 3, so it's easier if you group up the similar numbers, but it doesn't matter which side you choose. Here's where I remember that there's a plus. So then we take out the common numbers out of the first parentheses, simplify. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared, so that's good. 2x plus 1, and then we write the same thing in the second parentheses and find out what we have to take out, which in this case is 3, which you can tell because 3 divided by 1 is 3. Or 6 divided by 2 is 3. Both of them are 3. The point is you take out 3. And then we put what's inside the parentheses in the first one, and in the second one we put the numbers that's in front. Now look at what happens if we did change the 6 and the 2. The problem has an interesting thing. See, what are you going to do when there's nothing in front of the second parentheses? Nothing means a 1, so you just put a 1. And the answers are the same as before. Okay, so our next question is another simplified question, but there's big numbers, so we're definitely going to have to factor out something, and this is one of the questions that we use a box at the beginning. So 12 can be divided into 3 and 4, so I'm going to try dividing 76 by 4, which works, and 56 by 4, which also works. We're going to pull out the 4. Yep. Pull out the 4 and put the remainders in the box, which is 3v squared minus 19v minus 14. Alrighty. So we cannot forget this 4. We're going to need it later, but right now we're going to focus on what's inside the parentheses. So we have our template, which is in the support sheet. The parentheses with a plus in the middle. And we put 3v squared, and then the last one is going to have minus 14. And both of the things we're trying to find is going to be attached to a v. Alright, so we do our x and t. At the top of the x is a times c, which is 3 times negative 14, which is negative 42. And then on the bottom is negative 19. Okay, and then the t for this one's really short. It's 2 and 21. And then we see there's a negative on the top, which means one of the sides have to be a negative. So we have 21 and 2, and the bigger number is going to be a negative because the bottom number is negative 19. Okay, so here I put the negative 21 in the second parentheses just to group up the negatives together so we can pull it out. As you can see here, we can take out a v out from the first one, and then in the second parentheses we take out a negative, and we match the second parentheses with the first one, and what we can take out is 7, negative 7. And then last step, second to last step, we form our parentheses, and we do not forget the 4 that we put in the box at the beginning. Alrighty. So for question 14, you're always going to have a negative at the beginning, so you can mark that down if you want in your notes. But we're going to take the negative out, and then we're going to change the sign. Okay? And these are pretty big numbers, so we're going to have to factor something out, or else the problem is going to be way too hard. And 25 is 5 times 5, so we're just going to be taking out a 5. Really nice for us. So we take the 5 out, put it in our box, and then in our parentheses we put the leftover, which is 5n squared plus 9 minus 18. Because remember, we flipped the signs. Okay, so we're not going to forget this negative 5. We split our parentheses into our template, which is going to be 5n squared in the first one, and in the second one, it's going to end with negative 18. Alright, now we got to make some space for our x and t. And the top of the x is a times c, which is going to be 5 times negative 18. So negative 90. Skip ahead to the t, and we found our numbers. Top one's a negative, bottom one's a positive, so the bigger number is going to be a positive, the smaller number is going to be a negative. Okay, we pop that in, grouping the negatives together so we can pull out the minus sign, find the common, which is 5n, and then copy n plus 3 into the second parentheses, and we can take out a negative 6. Then we got n plus 3 in the first parentheses, and then 5n minus 6, and pull down our negative 5. And there we go. Alright, now to solve for m. We just have to simplify this first. So we can take out a 2m. Then there's 6m left, plus 5 equals 0. Then we got a 0 at the equation. So the first 2m, to make that 0, m is just equal to 0. To make 6m plus 5 equal to 0, we're going to have to multiply it by negative 5 over 6. So you can see, like, if you replaced m with negative 5 over 6, then you would have to multiply by 6, and the 6's would cancel out. That would get negative 5, and then negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So, last question, which is question 20. Z equals 0, and then we have a negative right there on the z plus 2, so z is just equal to 2, because if you replace the z, it will be a negative 2 automatically. And then we have z is equal to 4 over 5 there, for the same thing like that I explained in the last question. That's our answer. The end. You got this. Also, look at what my goat did to my computer. I went outside to watch Evan lock up the chickens. It literally ate my caps lock tab. I don't even know how it did it that fast. It was like instantaneous. So sad.